Hey everybody, welcome back for day 2 of our VBS here at home. We're hoping that you enjoyed yesterday, and if you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch it because all of the recordings are going to stay up for a long time, so you can go back and watch any of the days that you want to see. Before we get started today, let's go ahead and sing a song and get us all warmed up, loosened up. How does that sound? Let's sing this one together. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Jesus died for all the children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus died for all the children of the world. Jesus rose for all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus rose for all the children of the world. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. He does. He does love the little children. He loves you and I. He loves us so much that He just cares for us in everything that we do. Now today, we have to imagine a really special place, a place called Babylon. Let's see if we can imagine that place together. We did it. We're here. We're in Babylon. Now, isn't this place amazing? I mean, look at the buildings around us. This is quite an important city, especially in Old Testament times. And we're going to see how it relates to our story in just a little bit. But I can say it's hot here. So we better be remembering what we talked about yesterday so that we can learn what we're going to talk about today. Do you guys remember yesterday's theme? Well, here it is. God gives us protection. Did you remember that? Did you say it along with me? How about yesterday's memory verse? Do you remember that one? Here it is if you've forgotten. The Lord is faithful, and He will protect you from the evil one. So those were the themes and Bible verses for yesterday. But how about today? Today we have a whole brand new one. Are you ready to learn it and memorize it? Keep it in your brains? Here you go. Here's today's theme. God gives us courage. One more time. God gives us courage. God gives us so much courage so that we can be brave when scary and dangerous things come. We can stand up in the face of them because God gives us that courage. And we're going to see that in our story in just a little bit. Now, how about today's memory verse? Here it is. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That comes from Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. And we're going to see that in action in this story coming up here in just a moment. But it reminds us that we should be courageous in all things because God is with us. Now, before we get to our story, let's go ahead and sing another song together. Does that sound good? How about we sing this one? All right, for this song, you need to get your little light out there and make sure you let it shine. Let's sing together. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine all the time, let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine. Don't let Satan it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan it out, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine all the time. Let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine all the time. Let it shine. Good job, everybody. Did you have your little lights going? I sure hope you did. It means that we have to show the world around us the light that's in us from God. That all of the excitement and joy that God gives to us, we need to show everybody else. So make sure you're doing that. Let your little light shine everywhere you go. All right, we're not going to wait any longer. Let's get into our story today because it is one of my favorites that takes place right here in Babylon. Check it out. King Nebuchadnezzar made a huge image of gold and set it up in Babylon. Then it was proclaimed, "Nations and peoples of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace." At this time, some people told the king, "There are 3 Jews here in Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to your order. They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold you have set up." Furious with rage, he ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual, and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and throw them into the blazing furnace. They said to the king, "If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." The king's command was so urgent and the furnace so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar leapt to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, "Weren't there 3 men in there when we tied them up and threw them into the fire? Look, I see 4 men walking around, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and they saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their head singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command, and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God." Wow, that story is amazing. I can't believe how brave those guys were. They were facing a really dangerous situation, but they refused to bow down to the idol that King Nebuchadnezzar built because they only worshipped the true God. So they were brave and courageous and told the king, "No, we won't bow down," even though it might have meant that they could have died. But like what we saw yesterday, God protected them just like he protected Moses. And so they were able to have that courage because they trusted God. It's an incredible story and really one of my favorites. Just so awesome. And it reminds us of the theme for today. Do you remember what it is? If not, take a look. God gives us courage. God gives us courage. He absolutely does. We see that in the story and we see it in our own lives. That no matter what we face and no matter the dangers that might come, God gives us courage because he promises that he will be with us. And that's what our memory verse was. Do you remember that? Here it is. "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Remember that comes from Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. Remember that verse and remember that theme, because tomorrow I'm going to ask you about it. But also remember it because it's important for our lives. That we remember that God protects us and He gives us courage so that we can face whatever difficult or dangerous situation we might encounter. All right, we've got one more song before we close today. Here it is. So for this song, we've got hand motions, and we do something a little bit weird with the words here. So the first is the hand motions. It's deep and wide. There's a fountain flowing deep and wide, okay? So deep and wide and then flowing. And then what we do is we start dropping out words and we replace them with hmms, all right? So if you've not sung this song, you'll take a second to catch up, but here it is. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. And wide, there's a fountain flowing and wide. And wide, there's a fountain flowing and wide. And there's a fountain flowing and and there's a fountain flowing and flowing and flowing Isn't that a good song? It's so crazy, and sometimes I can't do it right because I get it mixed up. So it's okay if you did. Go back and start over again and try once again. You can always repeat these songs whenever you want to at home. They're right there in the video for you, so try it again. All right, thank you so much for joining with us today. It was so good to have everybody here and to sing the songs and to learn our stories and to remember that God gives us courage. So join us tomorrow. We've got a brand new day for you on day 3, so we can't wait to see you and get excited for everything that we've got planned for tomorrow. All right, I'm getting out of here because it is hot here in the desert. So we'll see you back here tomorrow.